Hello everyone, Luke here. I've been inactive for a while now because, well, what can I say? I've been a lazy piece of shit. But now I'm back because I'm currently on, well, Easter now, so I might as well start ticking off some things from the list of things that I haven't done because of procrastination. And so, with that very quick introduction out the way, let's move on with the video. About a year ago, I commissioned a friend of mine, Hade, to build me a custom keyboard. The reason why I was in the market for a custom keyboard was because I wanted something that can play Mania well. And the reason why I chose to commission him was because he offered to build me one, and since I was considering upgrading for a while now, I figured, why not? The keyboard that he eventually built for me, I spent around £120 on. But it is worth noting that this build was about a year ago, and the price for the components would have definitely increased since then. The keyboard base that I have is a glorious GMMK 60% barebones edition. It has a metal top plate and a plastic base, and the main reason why I picked this one specifically was because one of the requirements for the custom keyboard that I was not willing to compromise on was that it needed a 1000 Hz polling rate, and this is because this makes timing notes in rhythm games much easier. The reason why 1000 Hz makes timing notes in rhythm games are easier is because of the way inputs are read by the keyboard. The current method that keyboards send inputs is that at set intervals, the firmware sends data to the CPU for what keys are currently being pressed, and the amount of times that this is done per second is measured in hertz. By having a 1000 Hz polling rate, the inputs of my keyboard are being refreshed 1000 times a second, which ensures accuracy by decreasing the time in between when I press the keyboard button and when the input is registered. It's worth noting that this is an oversimplified explanation, and I think Tokaku does a better video explaining in greater detail how this works. The key switches that I used are lubed Gateron yellows. I chose them because they're cheap, so there really isn't anything special about that motivation. Although it is worth noting that lubing them does make a very substantial difference, and I highly recommend lubing Gateron yellows if you can fit in the cost of lube into your budget. My keycaps were the cheapest set of keycaps that I could find off Amazon. In this case, there were some Corsair double PBT keycaps that were £30, so nothing special about that. But with that out the way, I'll state a few things that I like about my custom keyboard, a few things that I didn't like about my custom keyboard, a sound test, and a conclusion. One of the things that I noticed about the keyboard almost immediately after using it is that it is significantly lighter than what I am used to, given that up until this point I was using a Unicomp new Model M. The Gateron yellows that are used in this keyboard are linears with a 50-gram actuation force, with lube adding 2-3 grams of extra force, give or take. But when compared to the new Model M, which is a tactile with 98 grams of actuation force, I personally really like this change, as this makes rhythm games much easier to play. However, one thing that I do not like about this keyboard is that it's a bit too compact. This is ultimately the consequences of my own actions, as I do not want to spend any more money than was absolutely necessary to play rhythm games. The result of this is, with the context that my preferred keybinds are QWOP, I would frequently fat finger the escape, minus, and plus keys, which cause my game to pause, decrease offset, and increase offset respectively. To counter this, I removed their keycaps. Another grievance that I have with this keyboard is because of the 60% nature of it, it lacks arrow keys. In my opinion, arrow keys are a must for normal use. As they make word processing much more convenient, some games use it for movement and some games don't work without it. At least not without heavy modifications to the keybinds. GTA 5. The only reason that I was willing to compromise on it was because I was pretty much exclusively using it for playing Mania, as well as other rhythm games in which this keyboard excels at. I really want to make it clear that none of the grievances that I have with this keyboard are because of Hade's incompetence. Rather, it was a result of the fact that I wasn't willing to pay a lot for the keyboard, therefore he did not have much budget to work with it, because, custom keyboards get very expensive very quickly, and when I'm trying to keep it to as little over £100 as possible, that means that compromises do have to be made, and, you know, Hade's built me a great keyboard, so yeah. Now, time for a typing test, just to see, you know, how the keyboard sounds and how well is it good for typing and yada yada yada, on with the typing test. So, what are my thoughts of the keyboard? Despite the issues that I have with it in relation to it being a 60%, I really like the keyboard. It's nice to type on, it's great for jump streams on Mania, and if I ever need a portable keyboard, then I know exactly what to bring with me. The quality of the keyboard could not have been any better, and I would really like to thank Hade for making it for me. If you liked the video, then give the video a like. If you didn't like the video, then dislike the video. If you like what I do, although that being said, I haven't done anything in the past year, but point being, if you like what I do, subscribe, and I'll see you all in a bit.